My name is Eliana Voss. I have tried to stay silent about this. I told myself it was too sacred, too dangerous, too heavy to place into human words. But silence has a weight of its own, and it has been pressing against my chest ever since I came back. So, I am speaking now, not because I want to, but because I promised that I would. If I lived, I would tell it. I need you to understand something before I begin. This is not a metaphor. This is not a dream. This is not a story shaped by grief or imagination. I died. My heart stopped. My body failed. The world I knew released me. And what I found, on the other side of that final breath, it was not darkness. It was not emptiness. It was not the end. It was life. More real than this. More vivid than anything I had ever touched, seen, or loved. I was more alive after I died than I had ever been while breathing. Even now, saying it feels like breaking something open. Because once you know this, you cannot unknow it. And once you've seen what waits beyond the veil, you cannot pretend this world is all there is. There is something I was told, something that has followed me back like a flame I cannot extinguish. A voice, not heard, but known, clearer than thought, deeper than memory. It has not stopped speaking since that moment. It says only this: keep speaking. So I will, even if my voice trembles, even if no one believes me, even if it costs me everything. Because what I saw, what I was shown, was not just for me. And I think some part of you already knows that. I return to it now, carefully, to the life I was living before everything was undone. Before breath became something I would lose and then be given back like a borrowed miracle. My days were simple, predictable. Morning light would slip through the curtains in quiet lines, resting across the same places: the edge of the bed, the corner of the mirror, the unfinished cup of water I never seemed to drink. I remember the sound of my alarm, sharp, insistent, pulling me out of dreams I could never quite remember. I would rise, but not fully wake. There is a difference. I moved through my life the way a shadow follows a body, present, but not alive with intention. Coffee brewing, steam rising in soft spirals, my hands wrapped around the warmth, as if heat alone could convince me I was here. But inside, there was a quiet distance. Not pain loud enough to name, not sorrow deep enough to collapse me. Just absence. A soft, persistent emptiness that lingered beneath everything. I smiled when I needed to, spoke when spoken to, laughed at the right moments, and yet there were seconds, brief and almost invisible, when everything would fall silent inside me. Moments when the world felt thin, like I could almost see through it, like something real was just beyond reach. I didn't have the language for it then. I called it stress, fatigue, the weight of ordinary life, but that wasn't the truth. The truth was, I was disconnected, not from people, from something deeper, from something eternal, from him. And I think part of me knew, because sometimes, late at night, when the noise of the day finally loosened its grip, I would feel it again. That pull, subtle, but undeniable, not from outside me, but from somewhere within, like a memory I couldn't fully recall, like a voice just beneath the surface of my thoughts. And every time it came, I would ignore it, scroll a little longer, turn on more noise, fill the silence before it could speak, because something in me was afraid that if I truly listened, everything would change. There was a restlessness I couldn't explain, a quiet knowing that I was meant for something, but I didn't know what. Or maybe I didn't want to know, because knowing demands response, and response demands surrender. He called my name in the dark, but I didn't answer. Not then. I stayed where it was familiar, where it was safe, where everything made sense on the surface, even if nothing felt real underneath. And yet, even in my silence, even in my distance, the call never stopped. It lingered in the pauses, in the stillness, in the spaces I tried so hard to fill. Something was off. I could feel it, not in the world around me, but in me, like I was living outside of my own soul, like I had forgotten something essential, something sacred. And I didn't know it then, but that quiet emptiness, that ache I could never name. It wasn't something missing, it was something waiting, waiting for me to finally stop, to finally listen, to finally turn toward the voice that had been calling me all along. He called my name in the dark, and soon I would have no choice but to hear him. And then it happened, not with warning, not with preparation, but with a suddenness that split my life into two irreversible halves, before and after. I remember the moment with a clarity that feels almost cruel. I am standing, doing something ordinary. So ordinary, it now feels sacred in its simplicity. The air is still. The room is quiet. And then, something inside me falters. Not loudly, not violently, just a subtle shift, like a thread being pulled loose from deep within my chest. At first, I don't understand it. A strange pressure, a tightening. My breath shortens, not sharply, but unevenly, like my body has forgotten its rhythm. I try to steady myself. But something is wrong, deeply wrong. The world doesn't collapse. It distorts. Edges soften. Sounds stretch. Time begins to slow, not metaphorically, but physically, as if each second is being pulled apart, elongated, suspended. I hear something fall. It takes me a moment to realize it's me. My body hits the ground, but I don't feel the impact the way I should. The pain is distant, delayed, almost irrelevant, because something else is happening, something I cannot control. My heartbeat becomes irregular, then erratic, then distant. And in that moment, panic rises, sharp, immediate, the kind that grips the edges of your thoughts and tightens them into fear. I try to breathe, I try to move, I try to call out, but my body is no longer responding the way it used to. It feels far away, like I am inside it, but no longer connected to it. And then, everything slows even more. Sound begins to fade, not abruptly, but like music being lowered in another room. Voices, if there were any, become indistinct. The world dims, not into darkness, but into distance. And something inside me realizes, this is it. This is the moment. I am dying. The thought doesn't come with words. It comes with knowing. A deep, undeniable recognition. And for a brief moment, fear surges again. Not of pain, but of loss. Of leaving. Of everything I thought I was, slipping beyond my reach. But then, something changes. The fear doesn't stay. It cannot. Because something else begins to take its place. A calm, not forced, not chosen, but given. It washes over me, gently, completely, like hands I cannot see, loosening every knot inside my chest. And I feel myself letting go, not resisting, not fighting, just releasing. And then I am no longer inside my body. There is no tearing, no violence, just separation, effortless. I rise, not with motion as I understand it, but with awareness shifting upward. outward, and suddenly I am looking down at myself, my body, still, unmoving, fragile in a way I have never seen it before. It feels strange to say this, but there is no attachment in that moment, no desperation to return, only observation, clarity, like I am seeing something that was never truly me for the first time. The room remains, but I am no longer bound to it. Distance begins to stretch, even as I stay, and then I feel it, a pull, not forceful, not urgent, but undeniable. It does not drag me, it invites me. From somewhere beyond what I can see, something calls, and I turn toward it, and that is when I notice the light, not sudden, not blinding, but present, alive. It does not shine on me, it reaches for me, and I feel something awaken inside my being, something that recognizes it, something that has always known it. He called my name in the dark, and this time, I could not ignore it. The pull deepens. The world I knew begins to fall away, not violently, but gently, like a dream dissolving at the edge of waking. And I move, not with steps, not with effort, but with surrender, drawn forward into something I do not understand, but somehow trust completely. There is no fear now, only movement, only light, only the quiet, undeniable knowing that I am crossing into something beyond life, yet more real than anything I have ever known. And still, that voice remains, steady, eternal, unshaken by everything I am leaving behind. Keep speaking, and I go, and as I go, the world I left does not shatter. It softens, it loosens its grip on me like something that was never meant to hold me forever. The edges of everything familiar begin to dissolve, not into darkness, but into something wider, something alive. I enter, though there is no doorway. I move, though there is no distance. And yet I know, with a certainty deeper than thought, I have crossed, not into a place, but into a reality. And it is filled with light, but not the kind of light I had known before. This light is not passive. It is not something that merely shines. It is aware. It is present. It is alive. It moves without motion. It breathes without air. It surrounds me, and somehow also flows through me. Colors unfold within it, not fixed, not limited, but shifting, singing, expanding. Colors that feel like emotions, like memories I never lived but somehow recognize, and I realize I am not just seeing this light, I am experiencing it. Every part of me is touched by it, not my body, because I no longer feel bound to one, but something deeper, something truer. My soul, if I can call it that. And what it brings is not overwhelming in the way the world overwhelms. It is overwhelming in the way truth is, gentle, undeniable, complete. Peace begins to rise within me, not slowly, not gradually, but instantly, fully, as if it had always been waiting beneath everything else. A peace that does not ask questions, a peace that does not need explanation, a peace that simply is. And in that peace, everything I carried before begins to fall away. Fear, gone. Regret, lifted. Anxiety, dissolved. Not erased as if it never existed, but released, as if it no longer has any claim on me. Like waking from a dream that once felt real, but now has no power. I understand something then. With a clarity that feels almost sacred, death did not take me. It uncovered me. It removed everything that was never truly mine. The weight, the noise, the illusions I had mistaken for life, they do not follow me here. Only what is real remains. Only what is eternal. And I am not alone. At first, it is only a feeling, a presence, or many presences, gentle, watchful, peaceful. And then I begin to perceive them more clearly, not as bodies in the way I once understood them, but as beings, radiant, distinct, each one carrying a presence, a knowing, a depth. Some feel familiar, not in memory, but in recognition, like I have known them beyond time, like we are connected in a way the world never allowed me to see. There is no fear between us, no distance, only awareness, only belonging, and love. It is everywhere, not as an emotion that comes and goes, but as a foundation, as the very substance of this place. It does not surround me, it is me. It fills every space, every moment, every part of this reality. And it is unlike anything I have ever felt before. It does not ask anything of me. It does not measure me. It does not waver. It simply gives, endlessly, completely, without condition. And I realize this is what I had been searching for, in every restless moment, in every quiet ache, in every space I tried to fill with something less. There is no urgency here, no rushing, no striving. Time, as I knew it, has no hold. Everything exists in a kind of eternal now, complete, unbroken, whole. And in this stillness, this living stillness, I begin to understand. I have not ceased to exist. I have become more real, more present, more alive than I have ever been. More alive in what I once feared than I ever was in what I called life. And the truth settles into me, not as a thought, but as a knowing. Nothing real can be lost. Nothing eternal can die. Only what was never true falls away. And then, within the light, beyond the peace, through the love that holds everything together, I feel it again. Stronger now, clearer. The presence, the one my soul has been reaching toward, even before I knew his name. The one who called me when I could not hear. The one who never stopped calling. He called my name in the dark, and now I am standing in his light. And everything in me knows what comes next will change me forever. And then everything stills, not because the light fades, but because something greater than the light begins to emerge from within it. A presence, not approaching, not arriving, but revealing itself. It is not announced. There are no footsteps, no sound, and yet everything within me becomes aware. Every part of my being turns toward it, as if drawn by something older than time. And I know, before I understand, before I see clearly, I know it is him, not in the way I had imagined, not confined to a face I could fully describe, but unmistakable, recognizable beyond sight, like my soul has always known him, even when my mind did not. And as his presence surrounds me, I feel something I cannot hide from. Not fear, not shame, but exposure, complete and total. My life unfolds, not in sequence, not like memories being replayed, but all at once, every moment, every word, every intention behind every action I have ever taken. The things I said out loud, and the things I kept hidden, the kindness I offered, and the love I withheld, the moments I chose truth, and the moments I turned away from it. Nothing is missing. Nothing is forgotten. It is all there, alive, present, undeniable. And yet, there is no accusation, no condemnation, no voice telling me what I should have done. Only seeing, only truth. And somehow, that truth is enough, because I understand. I understand what mattered and what didn't. I understand how deeply love carried weight and how lightly everything else fell away. I see the ripple of every choice, how even the smallest act of compassion echoed further than I ever realized, and how the moments I ignored the call left quiet absences I never noticed while I was living. And still, he does not turn away from me. He does not withdraw. If anything, his presence draws closer. And what I feel then is not judgment. It is love, but not the kind of love I had known before. This love does not excuse. It does not ignore truth. It reveals truth and embraces me within it at the same time. Fully seen, fully known, and still fully loved. There is nothing I can hide here, and there is nothing I need to, because everything is already understood. And in that moment, something inside me breaks open, not from fear, but from recognition. This is what I was made for. This presence, this nearness, this truth that does not wound, but restores. He does not speak in words, not the way we understand them. There is no sound, and yet what he communicates is clearer than any voice I have ever heard. It moves through me, directly, instantly, a knowing placed inside my being, and what I receive changes everything. I am not here by accident. I was brought, not taken, not lost, but brought for a reason, for a purpose that extends beyond my life, beyond my understanding. And with that knowing comes something else. A weight, not heavy, but sacred. A responsibility, a calling. I begin to understand this moment is not only about me. It is not just about what I have seen, or what I have felt, or what has been revealed to me. It is about what must be carried back, what must be spoken, what must not remain hidden. The truth must be told, and as that realization settles into me, I feel both the beauty and the cost of it, because to carry truth is to be changed by it, to be set apart by it, to no longer belong fully to the world you once knew. And still, there is no force, no demand, only invitation, only knowing, only love that waits for my yes, even as it already knows it will come. He called my name in the dark, and here, in his presence, I finally understand why. Because I was never meant to stay asleep. None of us were. And what he is about to show me next will make that impossible to ignore. And then, it is shown to me, not as information, not as something spoken or explained, but as a living vision, unfolding all around me, within me, through me. I am no longer only aware of him. I am aware of everything he allows me to see. Humanity, not as I once saw it, from the ground, from within the noise, but from above, from within truth. And what I see breaks something open inside me. We are distracted, not slightly, not occasionally, but deeply, constantly, almost completely. I see lives filled to the edges, with movement, with striving, with endless reaching, but empty at the center. I see people chasing meaning in places that cannot hold it, building identities out of fragments, measuring their worth by things that cannot follow them beyond a single breath. And beneath it all, a quiet forgetting. We have forgotten who we are, not just as individuals, but as souls, as beings created with origin, with purpose, with belonging that does not come from this world. We have forgotten where we came from, and because of that, we no longer know where we are going. I see it everywhere. The noise, the constant filling of silence, screens, voices, distractions layered upon distractions, anything to avoid the stillness where truth waits, because in stillness, something begins to speak, and we have learned to drown it out. He called my name in the dark, but I was not the only one who couldn't hear. I see the weight of ego, not as arrogance alone, but as separation, the belief that we are self-made, self-sustained, self-defined, cut off from the very source that gives us breath. And I understand then, this is the great fracture. Not between people, but between humanity and truth. And yet, what I am shown is not condemnation, it is not anger, it is not rejection, it is grief, a holy sorrow, a love that sees what we have become and what we were always meant to be and longs for the return. Return to the fire, return to what is real, return to Him, and then it deepens. I begin to see how truth has not been destroyed, only buried, covered, ignored, traded for comfort, for control, for illusion, not always by force, but often by choice, because truth requires surrender, and surrender costs everything the false self clings to, and still, the truth remains, unchanged, unmoved, waiting. You were brought here to remember. The knowing settles into me again, stronger now. Not just for me, but for everyone. This is not a message of exclusion. It is not about who is better or chosen above others. It is about restoration, about remembering what has always been true, that we are not accidents, that we are not alone, that we are not meant to live disconnected from the one who formed us. And then I see two paths, not physically, but spiritually. One, wide, crowded, loud, filled with movement, but no direction, filled with voices, but no truth. A path where people continue as they are, busy, distracted, unaware, moving further from themselves with every step. And the other, narrow, quiet, often overlooked, but alive, filled with those who have stopped running, who have turned inward and upward, who have heard and chosen to respond. Awakening, not sudden for all, but inevitable for some. And I understand this is already happening, even now, across the world, in quiet places, in hidden moments, in hearts that are beginning to question, to seek, to remember. But before awakening, there will be shaking, not to destroy, but to reveal, to break what cannot hold truth, to strip away what was never meant to last, so that what is real can remain. The world must be shaken before it can be restored. I feel the weight of that, the necessity of it, because nothing false can survive in the presence of what is true. And through all of it, the message does not change. It does not harden. It does not become harsh. It remains what it has always been, an invitation, a calling, a reaching. The truth must be told. And I realized then why I was brought here, why I was allowed to see this, why I was not left in that light, even though every part of me wanted to remain. Because this must be carried back. Not as knowledge, but as a flame, something living, something that cannot stay hidden. He called my name in the dark, so that I could call out while there is still time to hear. And what comes next is not just what I saw, but what is already beginning. And just when the weight of what I had seen begins to settle, it shifts, not away from truth, but deeper into it. Because what I am shown next is not only what is broken, but what is rising. At first, it is subtle, like a single light appearing in a vast night, then another and another, until I begin to see them everywhere, across cities, across nations, across places I cannot name. People, ordinary and yet not, different lives, different stories, different paths that led them to this moment, and yet something within them is the same. They are waking up. Not all at once, not in noise or spectacle, but quietly, deeply, irreversibly. I see them in moments of stillness, moments where everything they once trusted begins to feel unstable, where the noise no longer satisfies, where the distractions lose their hold. And instead of running from it, they stop, they listen, return to the fire. I see people laying things down, not physically, but spiritually. The weight of who they thought they had to be, the identities shaped by expectation, by fear, by survival, the need to control, the need to prove, the need to be seen in ways that never touched what was real. And one by one, they release it, not easily, not without cost, but willingly, because something greater has begun to call them, something they can no longer ignore. He called my name in the dark, and now they are beginning to hear it too. I see pride dissolving, not into shame, but into truth. I see fear loosening its grip, not because life becomes easier, but because something deeper becomes stronger. I see people turning inward and upward, searching not for answers that soothe, but for truth that transforms. Return to the fire, return to what is real, return to Him, and as they turn, something ignites, not outside them, but within, a light, not borrowed, not learned, but remembered. And I understand then, this is not new, this is restoration, a return to something ancient, something original, something that was always meant to be. They were chosen, not chosen to stand above others, not chosen to be seen, but chosen to remember, so that others might remember too. Chosen to carry light into places that have forgotten what light feels like. Chosen to live differently, not by force, but by truth. I see them begin to move, not as a single group, not as an organized force, but as something far more powerful, a living network of awakened souls, connected not by proximity, but by purpose. They begin to speak, to act, to live in ways that reflect what they have seen, and it spreads, not like noise, but like fire. Quiet at first, then undeniable. Return to the fire. I see compassion deepen, not as an idea, but as a way of being. I see forgiveness, where there was once division. Truth, where there was once confusion. Courage, where there was once silence. And I realize this is how the world begins to change. Not from the outside in, but from the inside out. This is the awakening, not perfection, not instant transformation, but a turning, a remembering, a returning. Return to the fire. And for the first time since the vision began, I feel something rise within me that is not sorrow, not weight, but hope, not fragile, not temporary, but anchored, certain, alive, because no matter how far humanity has drifted, the call has never stopped, and now, more and more are beginning to answer. He called my name in the dark, and now, the darkness is no longer empty. It is being filled with those who remember the light. And I understand, this is only the beginning. And then, without warning, I am pulled back. Not gently this time. Not like the surrender that carried me into the light. This is different, abrupt, sharp, like being torn from something I was never meant to leave. There is no transition, no soft unfolding, just impact, a rush of weight, a sudden compression. And then, breath, forced, violent, unfamiliar. Air crashes into my lungs like something foreign, something heavy. My chest burns. My body feels dense, constricted, small. I am back inside it, and everything feels wrong. Sound returns first, not clearly, but as fragments, sharp tones, distant urgency, a rhythm that doesn't belong to peace. The stillness I knew is gone, replaced by movement, noise, pressure. My eyes open, but I don't recognize what I'm seeing. The light here is different, flat, cold. It does not carry life. It does not sing. It does not know me. And the contrast? It is unbearable. I try to hold on to what I felt, the peace, the presence, the love that filled everything. But it begins to slip. Not completely, never completely, but just enough to make me feel the distance. Like waking from a dream you know is real, and realizing no one else saw it. Time resumes, but it feels wrong, too fast, too fragmented. Nothing here moves with the wholeness I experienced there. So everything is divided, moments separated, thoughts scattered, and I am expected to return to it, to function, to pretend this is all there is. But I have seen too much. Days pass, or maybe hours. Time feels unreliable now, and I begin to try, to speak, not loudly, not boldly, but carefully, gently, as if placing something fragile into the hands of others. I try to explain what I saw, what I felt, what I was shown. But the words, they don't carry what I need them to. They fall short. They sound smaller than the truth they are trying to hold. And the responses, they come. Some listen, but their eyes drift. Some nod, but do not understand. Some dismiss it entirely, explain it away, reduce it to something safe, something contained, something earthly. And something inside me begins to ache. And not because they reject me, but because they cannot see. Not yet. I begin to feel alone, not physically, but spiritually, like I am carrying something no one else can touch, something too vast to fit into ordinary conversation, too sacred to be treated lightly. And yet, I was told to speak, and then it deepens. The resistance, not always visible, not always clear, but present. I feel it in moments of hesitation, in sudden waves of doubt that do not feel like my own, in the temptation to stay quiet, to keep it to myself, to return to the safety of silence. But the silence is heavier now, because I know what it costs. The truth must be told. There are moments when the world feels darker than it did before. Not because it changed, but because I can see more clearly now. The distractions feel louder. The emptiness feels deeper. The distance between what is and what could be feels unbearable. And I understand this is part of it. The cost of seeing, the cost of knowing, the cost of being sent back. But I was not sent back to remain silent. And every time I begin to retreat, every time the weight feels too much, every time I wonder if I should stop, I feel it again. That voice, not loud, not forceful, but unshakable. Keep speaking. It doesn't argue. It doesn't explain. It simply remains, and I know this is the path now. Not easy, not understood, but necessary. He called my name in the dark, and even here, in the noise, in the resistance, in the doubt, he is still calling, and I will answer, even if my voice trembles, even if the world turns away, even if it costs me the comfort I once held on to, because what I was shown is too real to bury, too sacred to hide, too urgent to ignore. So I continue, because I must, because I promised, because I was told, keep speaking. And now, I speak to you, not as someone above you, not as someone who has everything figured out, but as someone who has seen and cannot unsee. There is something you need to understand. This life, the one you are living right now, is not neutral. It is not random, not without consequence. It is a crossing point, a place of decision, because there is a war, not the kind you see on screens, not the kind measured in noise or power or control, a quieter war, a deeper one, a war for your attention, your identity, your soul, and most people don't even know they are in it. I have seen what waits beyond this life. I have felt what is real, what remains when everything false falls away. And I am telling you, with everything in me, what you build your life on here matters more than you think, more than you've been told. Because so much of what fills your days will not follow you. The noise, the endless striving, the masks, the need to be seen, approved, validated, none of it crosses over. It fades, it falls away. And what remains is truth, only truth. So I ask you, not casually, not lightly, but with urgency that comes from what I have seen, what are you building your life on? Who are you? Beneath everything you show the world. What do you turn to when the noise fades? What do you believe when everything comfortable is stripped away? Because that moment will come for all of us. And when it does, there will be no distractions left. No illusions to hide behind. Only what is real. He called my name in the dark, and he is calling yours too. Not to control you, not to condemn you, but to awaken you. You were not created to drift. You were not created to live half aware, half present, half alive. You were created for truth, for connection, for something eternal. Return to the fire. Return to what is real. Return to him. And if something in you is stirring right now, if something feels unsettled, or exposed, or seen, don't ignore it. Don't silence it. That is not discomfort without purpose. That is awakening. You were brought here for a reason, not just to hear a story, but to remember something you have always known. You were brought here to remember. And here, on Minutes Beyond Life, this is what we do. We remember. We slow down enough to hear what the world tries to drown out. We step beyond the surface into what is eternal. But this moment is yours, not mine. You decide what you do with it. You decide whether you turn away or turn inward, whether you stay where it's comfortable or move toward what is true. The time is now, not later, not when life feels easier, not when it's convenient. Now, because I have seen what waits beyond this life, and I would not be loving you if I did not tell you the truth. Choose what is real. Choose what lasts. Choose him, because one day you will stand where I stood, and everything will be revealed, and what you chose will remain. And even now, after everything, I still feel it, not always in ways I can explain, not always in moments I expect, but it lingers, like a quiet echo beneath everything I do, a presence just beyond the surface of this world, a memory that does not fade, no matter how much time passes. There are moments, small, ordinary moments, when the noise around me softens, and I feel it again. That peace, that stillness, that light that did not just surround me, but knew me. And I remember I was there. And more than that, I remember who I was in that place, unburdened, unhidden, alive in a way this world cannot fully hold, more alive, beyond life, than I ever was within it. And it changes everything, because once you have seen what is real, you cannot fully return to what is not. You can move through it. You can live within it. But you cannot belong to it the same way again. Something in you stays on the other side. And I understand now, death is not the end. It is the unveiling, The moment when everything false falls away. The moment when nothing can be hidden. Nothing can be carried except what was real. Love, truth, what you chose when no one was watching. Who you became beneath everything temporary. That is what remains. Nothing else. Nothing else. So I leave you with this, not as a story, but as a question. When your moment comes, what will remain of you? Not what you owned, not what you achieved, not how you were seen, but what was real. Will you recognize yourself in that light? Because this is not just my story. It never was. It is yours. It is every soul that has ever lived and ever will. A crossing, a revealing, a return. He called my name in the dark, and he is calling yours, even now. The question is not whether he speaks. The question is, will you listen? Will you turn before everything is stripped away? Will you remember before the moment arrives when remembering is no longer a choice? Return to the fire. Return to what is real. Return while there is still time. The time is now. Choose. Return to truth. Return to the Gospels. Return to Christ. Because beyond this life, there are no illusions left. Only Him. And what you chose to do with Him. Keep speaking.